With the Phoenix Suns missing the playoffs and playing officially now, and Bradley Beal still being on the roster for a few more years, making nearly $50 million, the whole situation with Bradley Beal is just getting very bad. And there's a lot of juicy stuff to unpack in this video, so before we get into everything, make sure you guys like the video and subscribe like I always say. Helps me out so much, and if you guys mess with me, mess with the channel, make sure you guys do those things, and let's get into it. So obviously the Phoenix Suns are in one of the worst positions in the whole league currently, and it's pretty safe to say that Kevin Durant will be moved coming this offseason. And with Kevin Durant being moved, depending on what they get back for him, the Phoenix Suns might go in a full rebuild mode. And obviously that depends on what they do with Devin Booker. Even though Devin Booker's kind of been struggling towards the end of the year, they might keep him and still try to contend. Who really knows there? But, I've also heard rumors that they're going to trade Devin Booker, so we're going to have to wait and see what they do there in the offseason. But now talking about Bradley Beal, man, I feel like if the Suns want to rebuild or if they want to, try to build for a title contention team going forward, they don't want to have Bradley Beal on the team for either of those scenarios. And the one thing that's stopping them is Bradley Beal's no trade clause. And I'm not sure if the Phoenix Suns are going to be able to move him soon, because in a quote from NBA Central, Bradley Beal actually had to say, "I love Phoenix. I love being here. I hope that I can continue being here." And if he's saying this, that means it's going to be very difficult to try to trade him because he likes being there and he doesn't want to move. So the only real option for Bradley Beal is a buyout potentially, and some teams that he could potentially go to are the Heat, Nuggets, Spurs, and Warriors, which, all those teams would not be a bad fit for Bradley Beal, because Bradley Beal is not a bad player by any means. He's obviously not a scrub, but the main reason about Bradley Beal that he's not liked and not wanted by any team right now is because of his contract. No one wants to pay him that for another year or two, because he has a player option and he also has another year next year on his contract. So that's the main problem around Bradley Beal. It's not that he's bad, because he's averaging 17, 4 and 3, and his efficiency is around 50% from the field, like 38 from 3. That's pretty good numbers, but it's just not worth $50 million. And something else that's kind of unrelated here that most casual NBA fans would probably not notice is that he actually only started 38 out of his 53 games. So he's kind of been coming off the bench recently here. And it kind of just shows how the Suns don't really care about him and they don't really have planned for him in the future. So, a buyout is probably likely for him. But, that was a long kind of intro or kind of just start to the video, as we actually have more things to get into with Bradley Beal. And it starts when the Suns fired their coach, Mike Budenholzer, after, finishing 11th place with a 36-46 record. And, obviously the whole season was just a big disappointment. So it makes sense why he got fired. So you may be wondering, what does this have to do with Bradley Beal? And it actually gets pretty crazy, so let's get into it. As apparently Bradley Beal reportedly had an issue with Mike Budenholzer telling him to play like Drew Holiday, and he basically said, "Don't ever disrespect me like that. Don't ever tell me to play like another player." And this kind of just makes me think, is Bradley Beal currently better than Drew Holiday, or who's had a better career between Bradley Beal and Drew Holiday? Because in response to this, Drew Holiday actually said, "I also don't know what he meant by saying that. Let me just do me and go out there and try to get as many rings as I can." And in my opinion, this basically shows the big difference between Drew Holiday and Bradley Beal as players, because Drew Holiday just wants to win, man. I just love him as a player. I feel like he's one of the most respected players in the league. But Drew Holiday only cares about winning. He doesn't care about, putting up as much points as he can. He doesn't care about, making as many all-star teams or all-NBA teams as he can. He just wants to get the ring. And I know that by these comments, they're not really trying to bash at each other. I think Drew Holiday's just more like confused by Bradley Beal's comments, and I feel like Bradley Beal's just pissed at his coach for being a bad coach for the team, and he just doesn't want to be compared to someone who he thinks maybe is worse than him. I don't really know how Bradley Beal was trying to handle that situation, but he said he didn't want to be compared to another player. But I feel like, if Coach Bud compared him to Steph Curry, Bradley Beal might be more happy about those comments. So I don't really know exactly what Bradley Beal is meaning by that. I don't really know if he's trying to bash Drew Holiday and say he was bad. But if he was comparing those two players, Drew Holiday has a better career. Maybe Bradley Beal is more skilled and a better player as a player. But Drew Holiday has definitely had a better career. Because when it's all said and done, Drew Holiday's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, or at least he's a cusp Hall of Famer player. Bradley Beal, as of right now, is not a Hall of Famer. So I just feel like he shouldn't have had the need to mention that at all. I don't think he needed to mention that from Coach Bud at all. I feel like he didn't need to mention Drew Holiday's name at all either. I feel like it's just all unnecessary drama, and it's going to start videos like this, and it's going to start debate Bradley Beal as a player and Drew Holiday as a player. And if you ask me, Drew Holiday is a more decorated player. And I feel like more teams would rather have Drew Holiday than Bradley Beal on their teams right now. And maybe Bradley Beal can redeem himself. Maybe, he plays like an all-star again next season when Kevin Durant's gone. I don't really know there. but it's just kind of interesting to see like why Bradley Beal would even put this to the media. But since he did, I thought I would actually have some fun here, and I actually asked ChatGPT who it thinks the better player is or who had the better NBA career between Bradley Beal and Jrue Holiday, and this is what it said. Jrue Holiday has had the better NBA career overall thanks to his elite defense, leadership, and 2 NBA championships, 2021 with the Bucks and 2024 with the Celtics. While Bradley Beal is a more prolific scorer and a 3-time All-Star, Holiday's all-around impact, defensive accolades, and winning pedigree gave him the edge. And I think it's just kind of funny that Bradley Beal said all this, and even ChatGPT thinks Jrue Holiday's had the better NBA career and has a better, NBA resume in general than Bradley Beal. I think it's just all kind of funny here. But at the end of the day, it's just all talk, it's all debate, I just don't think it should have been posted to the media. I don't think, Bradley Beal needed to say those comments. But yeah, y'all, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Let me know if you guys think, Jrue Holiday's better than Bradley Beal, or you think vice versa. I don't know, man. I'm interested to see what you guys have to say here. But, I just don't think Bradley Beal's too popular right now in the NBA, scenery, especially from you Suns fans, because he's taking up all your salary cap and he's not really a superstar player. He's like a borderline good third, fourth option type of player. But yeah, man, I'm excited to read all your comments. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe like I said earlier, and yeah, we out.